Your Honor, before we proceed to victim impact statements, the state would like to outline the strengths of the evidence that led to this plea. Per State's Exhibit A, the defendant has stipulated and agreed to the truth and accuracy of these following statements. First of all, that he acted alone in causing these deaths in counts 1 through 5 and the injuries in counts 6 and 7. Second, he knew Sherita Johnson was in an advanced stage of pregnancy. Third, his fingerprint was found in the home, on a TV in the living room. Fourth, telecommunication cell towers placed his telephone number, his cell phone, at the vicinity of the scene at the time of the murders. Fifth, his DNA was identified by the Cuyahoga County Regional Forensic Scientific Laboratory as being found on 2 casings at the scene, one inside the home and one outside the home, in the driveway. Additionally, on May 8th, 2015, at the time of his arrest at the McDonald's on 117th Street at the border of Lakewood and Cleveland, he had on him the murder weapon, which was ballistically matched to the injuries and deaths that were caused by his conduct at the scene. In addition, on the same date, May 8th, 2015, the phone on his person had stored within it his own set of crime scene photographs and videos of the deceased within and about the home. And in addition, at the time of his interrogation, on May 8th, 2015, he ultimately, or may have been May 9th, he ultimately confessed to these crimes. All of that would have been presented as evidence at trial. And in addition, as I've already pointed out, he stipulates that Jawan Johnson was born alive and lived for 16 minutes. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas. Do you have Ms. Corrales, someone who wants to speak?
Yes, Your Honor. There's several members of the victim's family that are going to address you. We're going to begin with Delray Sanders, who is the brother of Sherita Johnson, the uncle of Jay Rio Taylor, and Jawan Johnson, and the uncle of Janiyah and Jamarian as well.
So before we get to Mr. Sanders, Ms. Corrales, and I think you just answered the question I had. Every Johnson named in the indictment is Sherita's child?
Correct.
And what was Mr. Bryant's relation, if any?
Mr. Bryant was a significant other to Sherita Johnson, and was also the father of Jawan Johnson and Jamarian Johnson.
And one other question before you get to Mr. Sanders.
Sure.
You're saying J. Rio Taylor?
Correct. Jay Rio.
Well, that's my question. Is it a long A or a short A? Joe Rio or J. Rio?
Jay Rio.
Joe Rio.
Joe Rio.
Final question. He and Mr. Sparks Henderson are apparently contemporaries and friends, am I right?
Yes.
Is there evidence that Mr. Sparks Henderson knew the other family members as well?
Yes, he did. He spent a good portion of time with Jay Rio and Shaylona Williams, who was Jay Rio's girlfriend, and spent a lot of time in Sherita Johnson's home.
Mr. Sanders, you're welcome to make a statement you came here to make.
My sister opened the door for you, looked out for you, acknowledged you, and you were scum, and you know you are. Your purpose was what? We have no sister, no mother, nobody for nothing. It's gone. Of a senseless act, you, for nothing. They didn't want to be bothered with you. You weren't satisfied enough. They gave you everything you had. You're your own man. Why you didn't get your own? You was a disgrace. like pitiful. You can take that smirk off your face. You pitiful, and it's over with for you. I asked for you to get this time, me, not nobody else, me. I wanted you to have this, specifically, so you can understand what you did. I want you to lay in that bed and sit there and understand what you did. You took somebody away from us. We are the heart of our family that we'll never see again. She got kids and everything. Gone. Gone. Completely gone. Of a sensitive act of you. Like, you were a disgrace. You was on some gay stuff. You wanted my nephew and the girl. They didn't even want you. You are nothing. Nothing. You never was. I don't even know how she opened the door for you. I don't even know how they can even allow you to even have such protection. But I'm gonna respect it and own up to it. Because you ain't even worth nothing I'm trying to do to you. I'm not here. I am like, first time I ever looked at you. Like, you are so pitiful as a person, man. I don't even know. Man, you are so lucky God has got this off my chest. And I'm thankful because you made my life change. You as a person have changed me. Because I've been in this penitentiary. I've been in the penitentiary 4 times. I've kicked this podium over and everybody out here. But now no more. It's over with. It's over with. I'm glad they got you. And I thank the Lord that he put it in my heart to accept this and be a bigger person. Now I'm the oldest child of my family. And I'm going to do everything in my willpower to make sure everybody has everything and then some. But I'm just glad you're going to suffer every single day of your life. You're not going to get took out the easy way and actually get killed. I'm politely glad that you're suffering right now with that smirk on your face. But when you in that cell 11-9 or one of them rooms, when it get real serious, because you ain't been there yet, I'm just thankful that God had made a way for us to find out who you are and who you is. You can breathe like that.
Let him go. You won't grab him. You ought to be grabbing him like that. That's what you ought to be grabbing. You ought to be grabbing him like that. You ought to grab my son like that. You ought to be grabbing him like that. Don't grab my son. I'm going to choke my son. You ought to be grabbing him like that. How you gonna choke him and grab him, knock him down? Y'all ought to be choking that animal like that. But you gonna grab my son. You're wrong. You're wrong. You don't grab my son like that. Here go an animal over there. But y'all want to grab my son. But y'all don't do nothing to him. He over there laughing, making smirk faces. But you want to grab my son. That's wrong. That's wrong.
Your Honor, can we have a recess and thank you?
Everybody, please just have a seat for us.
Any of you guys heard?
No, I'm gonna leave it. Oh, okay. You know what I mean, but
Folks, please try to keep your emotions in check, okay? There's no time for everybody. Folks, we have 8 minutes before it's going to start. You need to use the restroom. Please do. You may leave the courtroom, come back in right now. Thank you.
I'm actually going to read your statements next.
Oh, you are?
Javante is going to speak next. Joanne Johnson is going to speak. It's J-A-N-T-E.
But that, I can't worry about that.
But he's going to speak next. And the deputy here is going to again. And he's going to, I think, address, I'm going to tell him to address the court.
Then I'll move back. You think it's okay?
I think, no, stay where you're at. Because I was going to speak this one. And tell them to say their names. His name is Del Ray Sanders. You can't hear.
Yeah, right. No problem. Okay. All good. Yes, it is. Always.
Just make sure everyone's cell phones are off, please. You need to be put away. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. That's okay. No, hold on. Okay. Yeah.
We are back on the record. About how many more people do you hope will speak, Ms. Rowland?
I have 2 more folks that are actually going to speak, and then I have 3 letters which I'm going to read to you.
Those of you who will speak or who are in the courtroom but are not going to speak, I don't claim to understand what you're going through because it's unique to you. But if you can control your emotions, that will show Mr. Sparks Henderson what separates you, one of the things that separates you from him. So thank you, Mr. Rowland.
Thank you, Your Honor. Next, I would like to call Shaylona Johnson, who is the son of Sherita Johnson and the brother of J. Rio Taylor and the brother of Juwan Johnson.
Right. Sir, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
You're welcome to say what you wish.
Your Honor, Jalante wrote his statement, and it's on his phone, so he will be directing you from there.
It's okay.
On behalf of my little sister, Janiyah Johnson, I'm here to speak on her behalf. On November 21st, 2014, just after killing her brother and others in the home, you tried to kill her, leaving her with a bullet grazed that would last her entire life. A constant reminder of the most horrific night of her life. You left her without a mother, a brother, and without another baby brother. You left her traumatized to the point where she has to see a counselor at least once a week. I hear that you're a father of a baby girl. Hopefully no one ever runs in your house and attempt to kill your family and leave your baby girl scared for life either. And now that you have to live with the consequences of your stupid and hideous crimes, you as a father won't be able to do anything to protect your loved ones. Not only did you leave my family hurt and traumatized, but you did harm to your own family. How would it feel if people began to treat your mom differently because she known as the mother who raised the animal? An animal who senselessly killed a prospering and God-fearing family for no reason at all. You brought shame to yourself, your family, and the city of Cleveland for neighboring a person like you. The only thing that will bring happiness to you is the memories you have of your life before November 21st, 2014. For the rest of your life, you will be accompanied with other sociopathic criminals such as yourself because those are the only people who will understand why you took 5 innocent lives and attempted to murder a 9 and 3-year-old for no reason. Not to mention keeping pictures in your cell phone for your sick and personal joys. Last but not least, you will have to answer the guy himself for your actions, if you know who that is. If you never prayed before, you better learn how and ask for forgiveness because the road you're heading down, like literally God, is going to seem even more unfamiliar to you. Honestly, if I was you, I would have taken the death penalty because it would have been an easy way out your situation. And what I personally want to say to you yourself, if you want to smile, you can go ahead and smile because that's not going to do anything. You know, I really thought that you came in here remorseful because you got a hat on, and I usually see Muslims with that. So what you just did just kind of contradicted your whole image right now. Like, I thought that you came in here feeling remorseful, but obviously you smiling don't prove that. So good luck to you. And by the way, I hope you know that was live, and everybody in the world seen it, including people in the penitentiary where you headed. So that was your only shot to show some remorse. So good luck to you.
Sir, thank you. Ms. Ferrari.
Thank you, Your Honor. Next is Patricia Johnson, who is Sherita Johnson's mother, and she would like to address you. She was also J. Rio's grandmother and Juwan's grandmother.
Okay. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
You're welcome to say what you think.
I'm Sherita's mother. It has been so hard for my family. It's been very hard. It's been very hard for her kids, for Janiyah and Jelante and Janiyah. Now I have to take on the role as the grandmother and as the mother. And I want to do it well. And what I have to say to you, you over there laughing, you over there smirking and smiling, like it's a joke that you killed my daughter and that you killed both of my kids. It's not a joke that you had killed 5 people. How can you sit over there and wear that hat? How can you sit over there and laugh that you killed 5 people? How can you do that? You have a mother, you have a father, you have a sister, you have a brother. Why you killed him? Why you had to kill my family? Each day that we go over to the house, and my daughter was killed in the driveway. It hurts so bad. It hurts Jelante when he have to go over there and do for the house. I have to back him up. Like Jelante said, we have to forgive you. If we don't forgive you, God's not going to forgive us. But as you go down that road, you turn your life over to God and you think about what you did, because God said, "Vengeance is mine." He said, "I shall repay." Don't think you're going to heaven being a murderer, because you're a murderer. You killed my daughter. You killed the newborn baby. How could you be that cruel to do that? I'm standing up here. I'm not mad. That was my son that came after you. If I could come after you, I would have came after you. I'm not mad at my son either for coming after you. He's hurting my son, both of my sons. My baby son, all of us was hurting. They close to Sherita. And you just laughing like it's nothing. But one day you're going to get your day. One day you're going to get it. I'm just going to keep on praying. You keep on laughing. You keep on smirking. But I'm going to keep on praying for you, sir. I'm going to keep on praying for you. That's what I'm going to do for you.
Thank you, Ms. Ferrari.
Your Honor, I would like you to acknowledge that the family of Lemon Bryant are here. His brother, who is John Anderson, is here. Makita Anderson. Regina Harper is his daughter. And Ines Bryant is here. Please come up. They have prepared a statement for you, Your Honor, but they would prefer that I read it to you. Lemon S. Bryant, and they've got some photographs that Maria will show you. Lemon S. Bryant was my mother's firstborn child. He was a brother, a father, an uncle, and a friend to many. He was a great provider for his siblings since he was the oldest. He made sure we were taken care of when our father left. He started working at a young age and never stopped until he hurt his back and went on disability. He didn't let the injury stop him from helping others or providing for himself. He loved to garden and plant his vegetables. He also painted houses and worked on cars. He would go around the neighborhood and help a person who wasn't able to help themselves. He hosted cookouts and everyone came. He was able to make meals his own sisters couldn't make. He loved his family. He was a man that kept a smile on his face at all times. You never saw him angry. He loved dancing and being around his family, especially his mother and his children. He also loved traveling back and forth to Alabama, his hometown. He was the life of every party and will truly be missed. We're not saying he was a perfect angel, but he was perfect to us. The day he was murdered, he was doing what he loved to do, which was cook and provide for his family. If someone called him, he would stop whatever he was doing to go and help them. He always put others before himself. He was one of the backbones that held this family together. With him being gone, we are all lost. Next, Your Honor, I have a letter from Louise Henderson, who is the mother of Lemon Bryant. I still remember the day I got the call and they told me my son was murdered. I fell to my knees and said, Lord, not my son, not my firstborn. You took away my son. You murdered my son. You took him from his sisters and brothers. You took him from his kids. He didn't deserve to be murdered. He still had a life to live. He still had love to provide, and we still had love to give. The pain is so fresh that I feel like it was yesterday when you killed my son. You took a part of my life as well. Our lives are forever changed by your selfless act. The way you killed my son showed you have no heart. The day you murdered my son, he was happy. He went over his girlfriend's house to cook a meal she asked him to make for her, not knowing you were going to come to kill. Lemon was a family man. He left a lasting impression on everyone he came in contact with. That's what I want you to know, Judge. Thank you.
Thanks to all of you, and thank you, Ms. Williams.
And lastly,
I want to say something. I also want to say that, I don't know my time. I just want to say, each breath you take, I hope that it haunts you. I want you to look, I just want you to look at these, because this right here, I want you to look at these souls, these people's face, whose life you took. I hope it haunts you for the rest of your life, every breath you take. Look at that.
You don't know what you did to my children. You don't know what you did to my son. You took his granddad away. How? Why? Why would you do that? I just don't understand. It wasn't good enough. Just like they said, Sherita opened her doors to you, man. And you tried to come after my siblings. I came here. I got on a flight this morning to be able to say I forgive you. Regardless of whatever religion you are, whatever God you serve, just like my sister said, these are the lies you took. I pulled up at that house hoping it was a lie, hoping. But you took my family away from me. You took my daddy away from me. But God said you got to forgive 70 times 7. So whatever being, whatever religion, whoever you worship in, I hope you get it right before you leave here, because you got to answer to something way greater than us.
thank you, Your Honor. And lastly, the family of Shaylona Williams is not present here today because that is their choice. But they have provided me a family picture, as is the picture that was provided to you and to the court. This is a family picture of Shaylona with her entire family, and her family has prepared a statement that I will read to you as well.
She's on as you're looking at the picture.
She is on, right here, yes. She was a 17-year-old girl who was going to be a nurse, Your Honor. In this life, you learn to forgive your enemies. However, you never forget turmoil caused in the blink of an eye, evil shown to the world. However, she was honored at her burial for the life she led, as her legacy and spirit lives on forever in our hearts. Whatever the outcome of this careless, uncanny decision you made, will have to live with, and hopefully it will haunt you the rest of your life. The story of Judas Iscariot is often used to compare betrayal and conspiracy of one who was once dined, laughed, shared, socialized with someone that was a close friend. Then the unimaginable happened. Whatever the reason behind itself, only you know, and whomever you tell. Shaylona was a soulful young woman who had goals of health care, loved children and her family, filled with kindness, filled with a kind heart, yet a life stolen before its time. which now you've had plenty of time to reflect upon this, Mr. Henderson, which is the reason why you called the hospital to check upon the victim, as you knew you had made the wrong choices that fateful night. Similar to a young life gone before its time, you and her won't walk the graduation stage, go to prom, or spend time with your loved ones in the comfort of a home, nor eat the food you like ever again. Both have a new home, Shaylona in the afterlife where she can never be hurt again, and you in a cell where you belong for your cowardice act of violence, which is only fair enough. Therefore, was it worth it? Only you know. You affected Shaylona's family members who will never be able to sing happy birthday to her, party with her, dance with her, cook her favorite food, and listen to her favorite songs, or watch her doll herself up to get ready for her day, nor smell her scent as she left the house. This may or may not mean anything to you, but these things meant the world to her loved ones. Now we say goodbye. We say our goodbyes to you, as you personally can do no harm to her anymore in this outside world except yourself. And hopefully you will find yourself, because you are lost, sir. You lost that night, yet we forgive you, but we'll never forget the Williams family. Your Honor, and finally, the purposes and principles of sentencing are to punish the offender and to protect the public. The state of Ohio and the defense has entered into an agreement. We ask that you enforce this agreement and give this defendant the requisite 5 life sentences without parole to be served consecutively, in addition to the 22 years. Your Honor, though some may think that is not enough for the carnage he left behind on November 21st, that is what the law allows, and that's what this court should impose. Thank you.
Ms. Ferralia, later in the sentencing, Mr. Sparks Henderson will be given his required opportunity to make an allocution. I don't know if he will take advantage of it, or if he does, I don't know what he will say. Given that, in the various statements made to police, not that this act can be explained, rationalized, justified, was a reason ever given?
Can we approach, Your Honor?
Well, let's just let the question go unanswered. I don't want to do anything off the record in this case. Anything else, Ms. Ferralia?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ferralia. Mr. Mack.
Judge, let me first offer my condolences to the family. We understand that there are no words that can bring comfort to these families, but at the very least, they are owed his acceptance of responsibility and his remorse. A few days ago, Mr. Sparks Henderson wrote a statement, and I just want to read it for the record. He said that I am very and genuinely sorry for the harm that my actions have caused to so many people. If I could take that day back which caused this harm, I certainly would. Not a day goes by that I do not think about my thoughtless actions. On that day, my emotions got the best of me, and I totally lost control, which caused this devastation. I am taking complete and total control and responsibility for my actions in the present matter. I am totally and genuinely sorry for my actions and the harm that I've caused so many. I am asking Allah to have mercy on my soul. You know, Judge, it's our obligation to present mitigation when we can. And there's nothing that we're going to present that justifies the conduct and the behavior in this case. We make that concession right now, at this moment. But I do want the court to know that he was 19 years old at the time that this happened. And there was nothing in his criminal history that could indicate that he was capable of this. I don't want to get into all the details, but Dr. Fabian generated a lengthy report that identified from the very beginning he's had a troubled life. And he was exposed to a lot of violence early on in his life. Again, there are no excuses. It's merely foundational information. I'm glad that he's accepted responsibility at the very least, and I'm glad that he hasn't caused his family to sit through weeks of trial. Judge, I reserve any remaining comments that I may have. I would ask that you listen to what Mr. Sims has to say. And I've advised Mr. Sparks, and he's told me that this is the best way for him to communicate under these circumstances. So I don't anticipate that he's going to be having that conversation with you.
I will, however, at the appropriate time, personally address him as I'm required to do by the criminal rules. Thank you, Mr.
Yes. Thank you. May I please the court? I, like Mr. Mack, will say to the family, and again, no words will provide you the comfort that you need. We understand that. I just want to say on behalf of my client that he is internally and remorsefully sorry for the harm that he has caused your family. Again, you heard the statement that he made. Now, the day goes by, or will go by in the future, that he will not think about his thoughtless actions that caused so much harm to so many. Judge, I want to say, in addition, Judge, again, just to echo what Mr. Mack said, at the time of the offense, James was 19 years old, and as reflected by Mr. Fabian's report, which this court has, I think, 56 pages, show various cognitive disabilities that he had, including depression and PTSD, history of special education classes, and Judge, he had an IQ of 65 in 2011, IEP classes, and again, I, like Mr. Mack, will say we are glad that he's taking responsibility for his actions and did not put this family through a 30-day trial that would have been devastating to this family. We think, Your Honor, he's shown genuine remorse for his actions and his conduct, and we're asking mercy be given to the extent that you can give mercy, and we are asking, again, that Allah have mercy on his soul. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Sims. Mr. Mack, you said you reserved some comments.
Judge, there's not a lot more to say. We're simply asking you to accept the recommendation by the parties and go along with the agreement that we have presented to you.
Thank you, Mr. Mack. Mr. Sparks Henderson, do you wish to make a statement on your own behalf or present additional information in mitigation of punishment?
No.
Thank you, Mr. Sparks Henderson. And again, defense counsel and plaintiff's counsel. For those of you who are here who have lost a loved one, your experience is unimaginable to all but a tiny fraction of people. You have suffered a loss in an awful way that should never happen in a civilized society. I and everyone else in this courtroom cannot pretend to know the depths kind of to your grief, not from just losing a loved one, but losing a loved one in this inconceivable fashion. All I can say is that you have my sympathy, and I hope that today's events get you back on the path to as ordinary a life as you can possibly have. And all of you who remain here, I do thank you for controlling your understandable emotions. To the prosecutors and police, I acknowledge your professionalism, thoroughness, and devotion to justice. In this case, as far as I can tell, the investigation was a difficult one, but was pursued doggedly and ultimately effectively. It appears to me the prosecutors have adhered not only to the letter of the open discovery provisions of Criminal Rule 16, but to its spirit as well. And by my observations, your attitude towards opposing counsel has been one of courtesy and respect, while firmly and zealously pursuing a just result. Mr. O'Malley, in particular, you came into this case closer to its end than the beginning. I have no idea whether this is exactly the result you would have preferred had you started with this case, but I commend you for being open to a just resolution, even if it is different than the one you may have preferred. To defense counsel, people often wonder how a lawyer can represent a man they believe is guilty of a heinous crime. And I firmly believe that both of you are repulsed by what your client has done, and I know that you were sincere in your condolences to your family, to the victims' families. But I also know that you performed a function that is vital in this democracy, and that is by making sure the power of the government, through the executive branch, to prosecute crime is conducted within the bounds of the federal and state constitutions that your professional duty requires you to. So, I don't know what the personal relationship is between the lawyers and Mr. Sparks Henderson, but I do know that they do not in any way approve of what he did. If Mr. Sparks Henderson did not get thorough, adequate, zealous representation, then none of us would, and the power of government to intrude in our lives, all of our lives, would be unchecked. Mr. Sparks Henderson, as far as the sentences in this case, there are 7 charges. I want to kind of go in reverse order. I want you to know, and I know we just talked about this an hour or so ago, but I'm required by law to tell you, that in connection with counts 6 and 7, if you get out of prison, you will be on post-release control for 5 years. During those 5 years, you have to be supervised by and report to a parole officer. If you violate the conditions of supervision, you can be returned to prison for up to half of your sentence on these counts. If you violate by not reporting, you may be charged with a new felony called escape. Finally, if, and it is a big if, you ever get out of prison and are on post-release control, then commit a new felony, and you're sentenced with a new felony, you can get an extra prison term equal to the greater of 1 year of the number of years then left on post-release control. You are required to pay court costs as part of the sentence. As I mentioned earlier, I estimate them to be $800 or so, might be a little more. I'm not going to waive those costs, Mr. Sims and Mr. Mack, because Mr. Sparks Henderson will be in prison for a significant amount of time, and the law does allow a defendant to earn community service credit to pay off the costs while in prison. Moreover, if there's money on his commissary, nothing, there has to be at least $25 in it before it can be attached for costs. Also, Mr. Sparks Henderson, you do have the right to appeal. Should you wish to appeal and cannot afford appellate counsel will be provided by at the state's expense, as will the papers to prosecute that appeal. Mr. Thomas, I'm of a mind, in the interest of thoroughness in making sure that everything is done correctly here, to appoint at this point the public defender to represent Mr. Sparks Henderson on appeal. That is in the absence of any request by him any indication that he wants to appeal, but he is presumed indigent based upon the finding already made. My point is, what's your reaction to the notion of appointing the public defender sua sponte?
Judge, the state takes no position in that regard, but I would note that the plea agreement between the parties speaks to his appellate rights in the context of the plea.
All right. And that's why I asked. I think out of caution, I'm going to have another lawyer at least have the opportunity to look this over. So I am going to appoint Mr. Sparks Henderson the public defender, whether you pursue an appeal, whether there's anything to appeal, which is a huge question in my mind. I am going to, at the minimum, appoint the public defender, and something happens from there, so be it. If you confer with the public defender and nothing comes of it, so be it as well. As to the substance, Mr. Sparks Henderson, of the sentences. For count 1, the aggravated murder of Leonard Bryant, you are ordered to serve a period of imprisonment in the state prison of life without the possibility of parole. On count 2, the aggravated murder of Sherita Johnson, you are ordered to serve a life prison sentence without the possibility of parole. On count 3, the aggravated murder of Sherita Taylor, you are ordered to serve a sentence of life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. Sir, on count 4, the aggravated murder of Shaylona Williams, you are ordered to serve a period of life imprisonment without parole. On count 5, the aggravated murder of the infant child Shaylona Johnson, you are ordered to serve a period of life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. On count 6, the attempted aggravated murder of Sherita Johnson, you are ordered to serve 11 years in prison. And on count 7, the attempted aggravated murder of Jamarian Johnson, you are ordered to serve a period of 11 years in prison. These sentences are ordered to be served consecutively, meaning one after the other after the other. Based upon the stipulation to that effect, Mr. Sims, Mr. Mack, and Mr. Thomas, I'm not going to orally or in writing make the findings typically required under 2929.14C4. Judges will often demean or belittle or revile a criminal defendant, especially a murderer, in the harshest of language, in the hopes of impressing upon that person the senselessness, depravity, and enormity of what they have done. You are not, Mr. Sparks Henderson, going to hear any of that from me. But what can be said to a person who has gone down one after one after one after one, his friend and his friend's family, including at that time at least an unborn child? What can be said to a person who would take pictures and videos of the slaughter we just committed? What can be said to a person who months later would lie again and again to police officers without compunction, investigating the death of his friend and his friend's family? What words could have any kind of effect on such a person? So you will not hear me telling you how monstrous you are and how apt the horrors of prison are going to be. Instead, I choose silence. Silence so you can hear only your thoughts and remember again and again what must have been the last unbearable sounds of those who are now forever silent. Silence so you can imagine the crying of a baby you made sure was never born or was never going to live. And silence so you can hear your own heartbeat and hate yourself for the beating hearts you destroyed.
Your Honor,
Yes.
if I may just ask the court, could the court reconsider the fact of the cost not being waived in this case?
I will reconsider. I'm likely not to grant the motion, but will be reflected in the answer.
Yes. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Speak to you real quick.
Yes, sure. Sure.
Just want to make sure that he puts in the journal entry the plea don't
Yeah, right, right.
absolutely.
Who wants to talk?